The next adverbial clause is adverbial clause of manner. We have done so far adverbial clause of place, time and cause or reason. Now adverbial clause of manner. Okay. These adverb clause of manner will take subordinative conjunctions as link. Okay, they take as if and as though, as the subordinative subordinate conjunctions. Okay. This particular adverb describes the manner in which an action takes place. Okay, it looked as if it was like that, or the manner in which it looked, or the manner in which an action takes place. Okay. So what is an adverbial? What is an adverbial clause of manner? It describes the manner in which the action takes place. Okay, shall we see some examples now? The little boy behaved as though he was a grown-up man. The little boy behaved is the main clause. As though he was a grown-up man is this is the link which makes it into an adverbial clause. Okay. So this is how these subordinate conjunctions, that is as if, as though, will make the remaining part of the sentence into an adverbial clause. Okay, I will give you some more sentences, you just take down. Do as you like. As. You do is the main clause. As you like is the subordinate clause. As you sow, so shall you reap. As you sow. Now you sow, as you sow is the subordinate clause, and as is the subordinate conjunction. So shall you reap is the main clause. So this depends on this clause. Seema talked as if she knew everything. As if she knew everything. Now, which is the subordinate conjunction here? As if. Seema talked is the main clause. As if she knew everything is a subordinate clause. And as if is a subordinate conjunction which makes this into a subordinate clause. Seema talked as if she knew everything. Next one. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. Do unto others is the main clause. Okay, do unto others, that is, you should always do whatever you want others to do to you. If you show a very serious face, others also will show you a serious face. If you do evil to others, others also will do evil to you. So, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. Whatever you want things to be done to you, same manner you have to do to others also. So, which is the main clause here? Do unto others is the main clause. As is the subordinate conjunction. As you would like them to do unto you is the subordinate clause. Okay. Next one. The lioness ran straight onto us as though she had been shot. As though she had been shot. She stands for the lioness. Now, which is the main clause? The lioness ran straight unto us is the main clause. As though she had been shot is the subordinate clause, and which is the subordinate conjunction here? As though. See, we have given you as if, as though. So, as though is the subordinate conjunction which connects these two parts of a sentence and makes it into a complex sentence. Okay. So, this can stand alone, this has to depend on it. Okay. We will see two more sentences. The sky was overcast with clouds and it looked as if it's going to rain. Instead of giving and here, I will just say since the sky was overcast, okay. Since the sky was overcast with clouds, it looked as if is a subordinate conjunction. It is going to rain is a main clause. Since the sky was overcast with clouds, it looked as if. Okay, that is a subordinate clause, and it is going to rain is a main clause. Next one. The old man looked as though he was a beggar. Okay, as though is the subordinate conjunction. The old man looked is a main clause. As though he was a beggar is a subordinate conjunction. So, if you see now, we have here 8 sentences, and I will just go through them. Okay. Shall we go through them now? The little boy behaved as though he was a grown-up man. Now, it describes a manner in which the little boy behaved. Okay, that is why this is the adverbial clause of manner, and which is a subordinate conjunction as though. And this joins these two parts, that is a main part of the sentence and the subordinate or dependent part of the sentence, and it makes it into a complex sentence. Do as you like. Now, do alone cannot stand together. It is understood you do. That is a main clause. As you like is a subordinate clause. Okay, as is a subordinate conjunction which joins these two parts to make a full sentence. Next one. As you sow, so shall you reap. As you sow is a dependent clause, and as is a conjunction, subordinate conjunction. So shall you reap is a main clause. So, it is like the manner in which you sow, it is the same manner that you will reap. Okay. Next one. Seema talked as if she knew everything. The way Seema talked, the manner in which she talked, it looked as though she knew everything. As if is a subordinate conjunction. Seema talked is a main clause, and as if she knew everything is a subordinate conjunction, subordinate clause. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. Do unto others is a main part of the sentence, main clause. As you would like them to do unto you is a subordinate clause, and as is a subordinate conjunction which joins these two parts. The lioness ran straight on to us as though she had been shot. The lioness ran straight on to us. That is a main clause, and as though is a subordinate conjunction, and it joins these two parts into one complex sentence. As though she had been shot is a dependent clause. This is the independent one and this is a dependent one. The sky was overcast with clouds. It looked as if it is going to rain. Okay. As if comes in between here. The sky was overcast with clouds. It looked as if it is going to rain. Okay. It looked, the sky is overcast with clouds. It looked as if it is going to rain is a dependent clause, and as if is the conjunction, subordinate conjunction. The old man looked as though he was a beggar. The manner in which the old man looked was like a beggar. He looked like a beggar. So, as though is a subordinate conjunction. So, are you sure now of all these subordinate conjunctions which makes it into the adverbial clause of manner? Manner, I told you, the manner in which this clause describes a manner in which an action takes place, or even when things look, okay, the manner in which things look, that is adverbial clause of manner. Next we have adverbial clause of purpose, okay. This gives us the purpose in which an action takes place, okay. Adverbial clause of purpose gives the purpose, okay. And what are the linking words? They are introduced by subordinate conjunctions like linked by subordinate conjunctions. That in order so that. Okay, let's see the examples. First one, she takes medicine so that she may become well. That or so that, okay, medicine so that she may become She takes medicine is a main clause, so that she may become well is a subordinate clause. Next one. We eat that we may live. That is a subordinate conjunction. We eat is a main clause. That we may live is a subordinate clause. Next one. Note this down so that you may not forget it. Note this down so that you may not forget it. Okay, so that is a subordinate conjunction. Note this down is a main clause. So that you may not forget it is a subordinate clause. So that is a subordinate conjunction, which makes this into a complex sentence. Next one. In order to get his teacher's goodwill, he he presented a good assignment. Or he presented his assignment well. In order to, okay, in order to get his teacher's goodwill is a subordinate clause. In order is a subordinate conjunction. He presented a good assignment is a main clause. Okay. So, this makes it into this in order to get is in order is a subordinate conjunction which makes the whole sentence into a complex sentence. Next one. We should work hard so that I worked hard so that I would win the prize. So that again, I worked hard is a main clause, so that is a subordinate conjunction. I would win the prize is the, so that I would win the prize is the dependent clause. Next one. He spends little in order to save money and buy a house. Okay, again in order. He spends little is the main clause. In order to save money and buy a house, or in order to save money to buy a house, will be the subordinate clause. Okay, this is a complex sentence. Next sentence. Work hard lest also you can say, lest you will fail. Here, lest also. You will fail. Work hard is the main clause, lest is the subordinate conjunction, lest you will fail is the subordinate clause. Last one. The old lady was walking fast so that she could keep pace with her grandson. Okay, the old lady was walking fast is the main clause, so that she could keep pace with her grandson. That is, she could match with the speed of her grandson is keeping pace. Okay, so that she could keep pace with her grandson is a subordinate clause, and this is the subordinate conjunction. Okay, now we have 8 sentences here. We will once again go through all this. She takes medicine so that she may become well. Okay, so that is the subordinate conjunction here. We eat that we may live. That is a subordinate conjunction. Note this down so that you may not forget it. So that is a subordinate conjunction. In order to get his teacher's goodwill, he presented a good assignment. In order is a subordinate conjunction. Next one, I worked hard so that I will win the prize, or I would win the prize. I'll write I will. Okay. I worked hard so that I will win the prize. Okay, so that is a subordinate conjunction. He spends little in order to save money to buy a house. He spends little is a main clause, so is in order is a subordinate conjunction. In order to save money to buy a house is a subordinate clause. Work hard. You work hard. That is a main clause. Lest you will fail. That is a subordinate clause, and lest is a subordinate conjunction. The old lady was walking fast is a main clause. So that is a subordinate conjunction. She could keep pace with her grandson is a subordinate clause which depends on it. Now all these underlined words are subordinate conjunctions which makes or which links the sentences of the adverbial clause of purpose. It gives us the purpose why certain things are done. Okay, next is the adverb clause of result or consequence. Okay, shall we see that? Adverb clause of result or consequence. Subordinate conjunctions are so or such that. Okay, shall we see the sentences now? He is so weak that he could hardly stand. Okay, now as a result of him being so weak, he could hardly stand. So that is a that is subordinate conjunction which links he is so weak is a main clause, that he could hardly stand is a subordinate clause. Okay, the effect or the consequence of his weakness is that he could not stand. Second sentence. She speaks Spanish so fast that I can hardly understand. She speaks Spanish so fast is a main clause. That I can hardly understand is a subordinate clause. It's added by that. The consequence or the result of her speaking so fast in Spanish is that I cannot understand. Next one. It is so far that I cannot see. That. It is so far is the main clause. That I cannot see is a subordinate clause, and that is a subordinate conjunction. She spoke such that she moved every heart. Such that, okay. She spoke such that she moved. She spoke is a main clause. Such that is the subordinate conjunction. She moved every heart is the dependent clause. So bravely they fought that the enemy had to retreat. Retreat means go back. Okay, they fought so bravely they fought that the enemy had to retreat. That is the link. Next one. They ran so fast that they could hardly breathe. Next one. Thousands died that became a great, thousands died of floods, that became a great political issue. That thousands died of floods is a main clause. That is a subordinate conjunction that became a great political issue is the subordinate clause. He looked after his pet dog so well that it would not leave him anywhere. Okay. He looked after his pet dog so well that it would not leave him alone anywhere. Okay. Now, which is the subordinate conjunction? So that. Okay. Shall we go through the sentences now? He is so weak that he could hardly stand. She speaks Spanish so fast that I can hardly understand. It is so far that I cannot see. See, all these are result of something or consequence of something. She spoke such that she moved every heart. Such that. So bravely they fought that the enemy had to retreat. Okay. The result of them fighting so bravely made the enemy to go back. They ran so fast that they could hardly breathe. The manner in which the result of them running so fast made them keep panting for breath. Thousands died of floods that became a great political issue. The consequence of people dying, thousands of people dying in floods became a great political issue. He looked after his pet dog so well that it would not leave him anywhere. The result of him taking so much care of his pet dog and showering love and affection on the pet dog, the result was that it would not leave him anywhere. So, here again, so that is a subordinate conjunction. Okay, now I am sure you know the difference between the other adverbial clauses and this adverb clause. So, we will go on to the next few. Next is the adverb clause of condition. This is very important. As how time, place and concession are important, this is also very important. Adverb clause of condition. And this is the subordinate conjunctions are if, unless, and whether. Okay, this if is very important in the adverbial clause of condition. If you read Rudyard Kipling's If poem, there is a poem called the If, that is the manliness, you call it in 10th standard textbook. It talks about, and it comes in Shakespeare's, one of Shakespeare's plays. If you are like this, if you are like that, so it is an adverbial clause of condition. Okay, shall we see the examples now? If you make a promise, you should keep it. So, if is a subordinate conjunction, you should keep it as a main clause, and if you make a promise is the subordinate clause. Next sentence. Unless it rains, the crops will fail. Unless is the subordinate conjunction, the crops will fail is the main clause, and unless it rains is the subordinate clause with unless as the subordinate conjunction. Next one. If I were you, I would accept the offer. If I were you, I would accept the offer. I would accept the offer as a main clause. If I were you is a subordinate clause, and if is a subordinate conjunction. Next one. You will not succeed unless you work hard. You will not succeed is the main clause. Unless you work hard is a subordinate clause, and unless is the subordinate conjunction. Next one. We shall not go out if it rains. If is the subordinate conjunction, and this makes it the subordinate clause. We shall not go out is the main clause. I must appear for the interview or I must appear for the exam and say whether I like it or not. Whether is the subordinate conjunction. I must appear for the exam whether I like it or not. Whether is a subordinate conjunction. Whether I like it or not is a subordinate clause, and this is the main clause. I must appear for the exam. Next one. If he had not told the truth, they would have punished him. is a subordinate conjunction. If he had not told the truth is a subordinate clause, and they would have punished him is a main clause. You can take this sari if you like. If is a subordinate conjunction, and you can take the sari is a main clause, if you like is a subordinate clause. Now shall we check up the sentences? If you see, we have all the subordinate conjunctions: if, unless, whether, if. Okay, we have given examples for all. If you make a promise, you should keep it. Unless it rains, the crops will fail. If I were you, I would accept the offer. You will not succeed unless you work hard. We shall not go out if it rains. I must appear for the exam whether I like it or not. If he had not told the truth, they would have punished him. You can take this sari if you like. Okay? Now I am sure you have understood the adverbial clause of condition. Conditions always comes with if, unless or whether. So now you know how to differentiate, isn't it? So this is how it goes. So far we have seen 7 adverbial clauses. Now the 8th one we will see. Next you see adverb clause of concession. This is the 8th one. Okay. An adverb clause of concession, the subordinate conjunctions are though, even though, and although. Okay, these are called the adverb clause of concession. Shall we see the examples? Although he is poor, he is humble, or he is happy. Although. Okay, I even taught you when you have this in the complex sentence, what will be in the simple sentence? In spite of. That we will see under the transformation of sentences. Although he is poor, he is happy. Now he is happy is a main clause. Although he is poor is the subordinate clause, and although is a subordinate conjunction. Next one. Though she ran fast, she could not catch the bus. Though she ran fast, she could not catch the bus. So, though is a subordinate conjunction. Though she ran fast is a subordinate clause. She could not catch the bus is a main clause, and though is a subordinate conjunction. Next one. Even though she tried her best, at the contest. She could not win it. Even though she tried her best at the contest, she could not win it. Even though is a subordinate conjunction. Even though she tried her best is the subordinate clause. She could not win it is a main clause. Okay. So, there are so many sentences like this and we will see a few now. Although it rained yesterday, we played the match today. Although it rained yesterday, we played the match today. Or we can even say we played the match today although it rained yesterday. Now, although is the subordinate conjunction and this is the subordinate clause. Next one. He will not give up hope even though he fails. He will not give up hope even though he fails. Even though he fails is a subordinate clause, even though is a subordinate conjunction. Next sentence. He did it although I told him not to do it. He did it although I told him not to do it. He did it is a main clause, although I told him not to do it is a subordinate clause and this is a subordinate conjunction. Okay, we will make it they. They work hard though they are not very intelligent. They work hard is a main clause, though is a subordinate conjunction, though they are not very intelligent is a subordinate clause. And the last sentence. She painted the picture so beautifully although she was not well. Okay, now which is subordinate conjunction although. We have here 8 sentences and we have although, though and even though as the subordinate conjunctions here. We will give it a reading. Although he is poor, he is happy. Though she ran fast, she could not catch the bus. Even though she tried her best at the contest, she could not make it. Although it rained yesterday, we played the match today. He will not give up hope even though he fails. He did it although I told him not to do it. They work hard though they are not very intelligent. She painted the picture so beautifully although she was not well. Okay, if you see here, in spite of this, they did this. In spite of that, he did it. So, in simple sentence, all these although, though, even though will become in spite of. So, all these are subordinate conjunctions, these subordinate conjunctions which makes the whole sentence into a adverbial clause of concession, and they make altogether a complex sentence. Is that clear? Okay, I am sure you have understood the different types of adverb clauses and you won't have any doubt on it. Well, now, are you ready for the test? I have given you ample examples for each and every adverb, and now I am going to give you a short test which will prove whether you are a star or not. Okay. Identify the adverb clauses and say what kind they are. Okay, I will give you the sentences. You just have to underline the coordinate conjunctions, that is the adverb clauses, and say what kind of an adverb clause it is. The teacher told the students if they do not prepare well, they will fail in the exam. That's true, isn't it? Anything you have to prepare well. If you want to become a superstar you have to work hard. It looked as if those children were hers. They reached home when the sun started setting. This is the house where my grandparents lived 40 years ago. This is the house where my grandparents lived 40 years ago. Although she is a little girl, she could count she could work out multiplication. As they reached the place safely, they did not feel tired. Or I'll just say, as they traveled comfortably, okay, next one. He worked hard and so he got selected in the okay. Now I have given you 8 sentences. You have to identify the adverb clauses and say what kind they are. I will read up the sentences. The teacher told the students if they do not prepare well, they will fail in the exam. If you want to become a superstar, you have to work hard. It looked as if those children were hers. They reached home when the sun started setting. This is the house where my grandparents lived 40 years ago. Although she is a little girl, she could work out multiplications well. As they travelled very comfortably, they did not feel tired. He worked hard and so he got selected for the match. Now come on, take your notebooks and work. Are you able to identify? I hope you are. Okay, now shall we work it out and see whether you are a star? Okay. The teacher told the students if they do not prepare well, they will fail. So, if is a subordinate conjunction. If they do not prepare well, they will fail. This is the adverb clause. What clause is that? If is condition. Okay, this is condition. First one is condition. If you want to become a superstar, you have to work hard. Again, I gave you one more condition. If you want to become a superstar, you have to work hard. Again, this is condition. Just to trick you, I gave you one more condition. It looked as if those children were hers. It looked as if those children were hers. Now what is it? It's a manner. It looked as if those children. So it looked as if those children were hers. It is a, this is the coordinate, subordinate conjunction as if, and it is manner. Adverbial clause of manner. They reached home when the sun started setting. What is it? Adverbial clause of time. It denotes a time. This is a house where my grandparents lived 40 years ago. Where my grandparents lived 40 years ago. This is place. Adverbial clause of place. Although she is a little girl, she could work out multiplications well. Whenever we have although, what is that? Adverbial clause of concession. Although, even though, and though. As they travelled very comfortably, they did not feel tired. So what is that? Result or consequence. He worked hard and so he got selected for the match. This is reason. The reason why he got selected is he worked hard. Okay, check it up whether you have got condition, condition, manner, time, place, concession, result, reason. And these are the clauses. Okay, have you got everything correct? Are you a star or a superstar? Okay, I presume that you've got everything correct. So I'll give you a star and be good. You can applaud for yourself if you have done this correctly. And we have 8 sentences with 8 different clauses. Good.